Hello, everyone, and this is Tammy Powlas, and welcome to this SAP Online Track session, SOT201 Early Adopter Advice, SAP Analytics Cloud add-in for Microsoft Office. And I'm thrilled to be presenting to you today on this topic. And first, always want to thank our sponsors, OpenSAP, Fair Consulting Group, SAP Press, and Espresso Tutorials, and they're supporting Girls Who Code. I do want to thank the SAP Online Track organizers for all their work on this event. So welcome to this session, and hopefully you're here to learn more about SAP Analytics Cloud add-in for Microsoft Office. I'm going to be sharing my beta experience with you guys. And this is the intro slide. Actually, I was supposed to present this at SAP annual conference co-located with Sapphire Now, but as you all know, that was canceled this month in Orlando. We were supposed to be in lovely Orlando. So this is a rehash of what was supposed to be presented earlier this month. A little bit about myself. I'm a certified public accountant, a certified project management professional. I am from the great state of Kansas. I got my master's degree from George Washington University in Washington, D.C. I took some courses at the University of Virginia. I'm an SAP mentor, and I work at a water utility just outside Washington, D.C., home of the 2019 World Series baseball champions, Washington Nationals. And I hope you follow me on Twitter at @tpowlas. So on the agenda today, what is SAP Analytics Cloud for add-in for Microsoft Office? And we'll review some of the features and functions along with the demo, and I'll share my beta program experience. So what is SAP Analytics Cloud add-in for Microsoft Office? What is this product? I should also mention that this product went GA May 18th. So SAP Analytics Cloud add-in for Microsoft Office allows you to use Microsoft Excel's strengths to get deeper insights into your SAP Analytics Cloud data. SAP Analytics Cloud can bring together a wide variety of data from spreadsheets, your on-premise databases, and of course the cloud data sources. With SAP Analytics Cloud add-in for Microsoft Office, you can bring this data into Microsoft Excel and take your analysis further. It's integrated with Office 365, and the add-in lets you format, analyze, and enrich your data based on the content from the SAP Analytics Cloud platform. And in the beta version, we could only analyze SAP Analytics Cloud data models based on the import connections. We could not use the live connections. And you can insert several models in a workbook. You can add or remove measures to analyze your data. You can add total rows in your columns to your table or subtotals. And in your analysis, you can use dimensions with hierarchies applied. You can expand and collapse the hierarchy nodes within the table. And then for dimensions and measures, you can create a filter to filter your analysis. And in the future, it's got the capability to enrich your planning and reporting process. And again, it runs on Office 365. SAP wants to cover the two flavors of Excel, the Office 365 in the cloud, and also the desktop version. So this gives you the capability to use it on a Windows or Mac environment, and in the future, they're going to provide the capability to run it on a tablet. It's based on the latest Microsoft technology, and it provides a modern user interface, for SAP Analytics Cloud. It is fully integrated with SAP Analytics Cloud, and there's no need to install anything. You just go to the Microsoft Application Store to download the application and use the tool, or you ask your administrator, your Microsoft administrator, to do it for you. So you see on the screen the system prerequisites. It's SAP Analytics Cloud add-in for Microsoft Office is the fully web-based offering. You need an internet connection and a system that meets the requirements listed on this slide. It's listed for the current release, and you do need Office 365. So in SAP Analytics Cloud add-in for Microsoft Office, you can analyze models built on SAP Analytics Cloud. A model is a data source that's organized into dimensions and measures. With SAP Analytics Cloud Office add-in, you can analyze analytic models based on import connections in Microsoft Excel. So an import connection is a connection to your data source which allows you to import or copy the data and save it in SAP Analytics Cloud. Any changes you made to the data in the source system don't affect the import data until you import it again to SAP Analytics Cloud. In the SAP Analytics Cloud, tenants that you use to build the models for the add-in must be based on the SAP Cloud Platform using Cloud Foundry, so the Neo tenants do not work. And the SAP Analytics Cloud tenant URLs that you use must follow the scheme yourtenant.sapanalytics.cloud. They are required as a start and end. And of course, the name of the tenant can be defined, freely. So to make sure your logins work properly, the cloud tenants that you must be defined as trusted origins in the tenants that you want to use with the add-in. And so to define the trusted origin sites, you log into your tenant and choose System, Administration, App Integration, Trusted Origins. So here are the client configuration requirements, the network bandwidth, the screen resolution, the browser cache, the JavaScript must be enabled. You got to accept cookies and allow pop-in windows, and the high performance script for your system. Now, how do you deploy the add-in? So the add-in is available in the Microsoft Office store. So you start with a blank workbook, select the add-ins under the add-in tab, select store, and then choose the add-in to deploy. So I'll show you that briefly. So I'm in Chrome and I'm logging into Office 365, and I'm going to launch Excel with a blank workbook. And so to deploy, you would go to Insert, Office Add-ins, and then I've already got it deployed, but you would have, either you could do it yourself or your administrator needs to do it for you. And I had to have my administrator do it. So you just go to the Insert tab, Office Add-ins. So now we're going to review some of the features of the product. And to log in to Analytics Cloud Tenant, of course, you open Excel in the browser and select SAP Analytics Cloud, which we will do over here. So I'm going to select SAP Analytics Cloud, and then so you choose Login to open the Builder panel and select the Builder in the ribbon panel. So I've got my tenant in there, and I'll select Go. And now I am logged in and I can add a table to start my analysis. So of course it had the URL and you accept the window and I logged in with my credentials. Now after you're logged in and you insert your first model, you can't change the tenant as the workbook is connected to one tenant only, and the panel must stay open as long as you work with the Excel add-in. If you close it, the ribbon commands are no longer active and you can't change the table. So to reopen, you just choose the builder panel. So with SAP Analytics Cloud add-in, you can analyze your analytic models based on the import data connections. So you can just insert a model to start the analysis. A table is based on the selected model is inserted into the sheet and you can start your analysis. And the navigation state that you see at the start depends on how the model was started in SAP Analytics Cloud. So we'll flip back to SAP Analytics Cloud and we'll add a table. Search for best, and these should be in all SAP Analytics Cloud tenants. So now I can start beginning my analysis. So you can add rows and dimensions as you like. So you can change the view by adding or removing dimensions and rows in the panel. And to do so, you would just choose this add measures and dimensions and select them that you want in your analysis. And you can also select single dimension attributes and properties to add them to your analysis. Measures and dimensions that you add to the rows are inserted to the right of the added dimension in the rows. Measures and dimensions added to the columns are inserted below the last dimension in the columns, and you can drag and drop in the panel to change the sequence. For removing dimensions, account and version have specific behavior. They can only be removed if they are filtered on one single member. And you can also use Microsoft Excel options to enhance your data, such as adding formulas. But note when you do this, changes done within the tables are overwritten the next time you do a refresh. So you'll want to use those Excel options outside the table. And then you can also open your analysis in the Excel desktop. Choose Open in Excel Desktop. And the desktop app can be Windows or Mac. So we're going to go back to the add-in, and you can see if you just, it's got product selected, and it's a hierarchy, and you can just tap it and it expands. So, and I can also open it in the desktop app. So you can see you can add dimensions and attributes to further the analysis, and to add a property, you can choose the context menu properties. So in SAC, you can create dimensions in your model to define how your data is analyzed. And to specify dimensions, you can create attributes, properties, and custom properties. And every dimension has at least properties and IDs. So that's you can see the hierarchy and the properties here. And as we said, every dimension has at least properties, ID, and description. So to show totals, to add a totals row, you choose the context menu and show the totals on the respective dimension, and then the totals row is added. So we'll go back to Analytics Cloud, click the three dots, show totals, and totals is added, as you can see here. Now to add subtotals, we have to add another dimension, and we'll do that. We'll add the sales manager, and then you can see how to add subtotals. Let's go back here. So I added the sales manager to the analysis, and I'll just click the three dots, click show totals, and we've got subtotals. So very easy to use and run. You can filter dimensions and measures. For dimensions with hierarchies, you can add a filter when the hierarchies are applied, as well as when the dimension is displayed as a flat presentation. You can drag and drop in the panel and change the sequence of the dimensions in the table. With a changed sequence, you can obtain different subtotals and deepen your analysis. And to remove a totals row, choose the context menu and select show totals again. And if you remove a dimension with the totals row from the table, the totals row remains selected. And as soon as you add the dimension back to the table, the totals row is shown. So let's go and filter some data. So to filter, I'm going to add filter. I'm going to filter on location. So it's going to be a background filter because it's not on the screen. So I'm going to select all members from California, Oregon, but only certain cities, such as Salem and perhaps Eugene. And so I selected the filter icon, and then I set the filter and I select OK. And then the data is filtered based on location. And again, it's a background filter because it's not on the table itself. And then if I wanted to remove the subtotals, I just click the three dots and unclick show totals. And then the totals are gone. So you can use the filter icon in the rows, columns area or the filter area to change a filter, and you can delete a filter using that delete icon, that X, and the dimension remains part of the table, then all the members are displayed if you remove the filter. And then you can delete the dimension with the filter in the rows, columns area. If you select the delete icon, there is the dimension is removed from the table. So the last filter state remains in the filter area and is applied as a background filter in the table. So we'll go back to the application. And let's say we're going to remove the filter. We just click the X to remove it. Very, very simple to use. You can also drag and drop as we said before. So, working with hierarchies, you can use dimensions with hierarchies using the icons, these arrow icons, and you can expand and collapse the hierarchy nodes. And so you can see the example on the right. We've got the dimension product with 4 hierarchy nodes, and the juices is expanded while the others are collapsed. Of course, we can see that back in the Analytics Cloud add-in, same thing here. So one thing that it took me a while, it's not a double click on the hierarchies like I'm used to, it's one click. So that's one tip to pass along. So to switch to the flat presentation, you can just click those 3 dots again, and it's the context menu, and select hierarchy, and then select the flat presentation and click OK. So we'll go back and do that. Select hierarchy, flat presentation, and now it's a flat presentation and the hierarchy is gone. For dimensions with hierarchies, you can add a filter when the hierarchies are applied, as well as when the dimensions are displayed in a flat presentation. And to do that, you just choose the filter icon next to the dimension you want to filter, and in the set filter dialog on the right that we're showing here, you choose the members you want to filter and select OK. You can select a node with all the elements or single elements of a node. And so in this example on the right, the node carbonated drinks and all its members are selected, as well as a few nodes of the juice are selected. And note that the icon in the dialog differs if a node is selected with all its elements, such as carbonated drinks, versus only some of the elements of the node are selected. And then the filter is applied in the table and added to the filter area of the panel. So let's go back and do that here. So select the filter, select carbonated drinks, select orange with pulp, orange with no pulp, and mango juice, and just select OK. And you can see that in the filter area as well. So that's how that shows up. So you can save workbooks locally on a server such as Microsoft OneDrive, for example. With the workbook, you save the current view of the table. So when you open the workbook, you need to connect to the tenant, and then you can continue your analysis. And remember, you cannot change the tenant of a workbook, and Microsoft Excel automatically saves the workbooks for you, and that's kind of nice. So, some frequently asked questions. Why can't I change the tenant URL in the panel? Well, after inserting the model, you can't change the tenant. To insert models of another tenant, open a new workbook and log into that tenant. And I've run into this before. Are the commands in the ribbon always enabled? The commands in the ribbon look enabled after opening a workbook, but they're only enabled if you are connected to the tenant and the panel is open in the workbook. So that's something that I ran into. It's like, this isn't working. But of course, that build panel wasn't open. So why do the commands in the ribbon not work if the panel is closed? The add-in is only active if the panel is open. So commands add table and refresh don't work if it's closed. Now the commands login and builder work because they open those panels automatically. And can multiple users share a workbook? Well, you can share workbooks with others by selecting Allow Edit in the Share dialog. So then we'll do a demo. So again, I'm in Office 365, and you've got to have a blank workbook. And then you select the SAP Analytics Cloud, and then you select Login. So it remembered me because I was already logged into SAP Analytics Cloud, and I select a model by adding a table, and I'll search for best again. So it's got my gross margin there, and maybe I want to add some others. Now the right side pane, it should be very common and familiar for those with using SAP Analytics Cloud, because it uses the same sort of workflow, but it gives you an Excel user experience. So let's see, let's add some. So let's add discount and sales price, for more measures. And then let's do an Excel formula, and I'm going to do the Excel formula outside the table. So let's say I want to know the percentage of gross margin over sales. So I can just use my Excel formula, and then I can use the Excel's formatting to format that into a percentage. And of course, I can copy. Of course, I can't do that. I don't want to do that. So I can also do that for the discount. What's our percentage discount? and format that into a percentage. So again, you can enrich your insights by using Excel. And then to insert another model, I can just open another tab and add data. And so again, it's similar. It gives you this panel is similar to SAP Analytics Cloud, and it gives you the Excel user experience. So now I'm in SAP Analytics Cloud, but I can also open this in the desktop. For whatever reason, you may want to do it in the desktop and open Excel on the desktop, which hopefully we're all familiar with, of course. And it should give that same feeling that, or same data. So it's the same data, but it's just in the Excel desktop. And so, and of course I have my SAP Analysis for Office tabs open as well. So it brings back everything to the desktop. So I'm going to resume editing in SAP Analytics Cloud. Remember, keep that builder panel open. SAP really recommends that you not close that panel, because then the tabs become inactive. And if I do that, I think you'll see everything becomes inactive. So that was a quick demo. There's more on the SAP Analytics training YouTube if you're interested. Now I'm going to share my beta experience. There were actually two betas. There was a guided beta and an extended beta. So of course, SAP had a blog about how to join the program, and the beta started at the end of January and then continued till the product went generally available. And their target for GA was Sapphire Now. Of course, that was postponed till next month since it went virtual. GA was generally available was May 18th. To join the beta, you needed to be an SAP Analytics Cloud customer on Cloud Foundry. And the prerequisites are listed here. And it only connected to acquired model data. Of course, you needed a test evaluation agreement, and you needed Office 365. Here was our test. It was a freestyle test, and the scope is listed here. Internet Explorer was not supported. You can display totals and attributes. English was the only language, and the plan was to deliver a new features every 4 weeks. And as I said, there was guided beta and extended beta. And so SAP Analytics Cloud deployment on Cloud Foundry only with the domain SAP Analytics Cloud. And then the access to the Microsoft Office Store if you needed to centrally deploy the add-in. And you had to have the Office 365 license. And of course, it works on Windows or Mac. And the supported browsers are Chrome, Firefox, Safari, and Edge. Of course, I haven't tried it with all those. And then what we couldn't do in beta, of course, we couldn't connect to a live model, or we couldn't retrieve data based on the planning version. And we couldn't save the report on the SAP Analytics Cloud platform. Mobile scenarios weren't supported, and we couldn't add a report based on a different model on the same sheet, and write back for planning was not supported. So those are the things we couldn't do in beta. But it was nice. We had some great support from SAP during beta. They had a dedicated SAP Jam page, and during guided beta, we had weekly calls with SAP product management and development. And then they asked for our feedback. Could we share the top 3 scenarios we'd like to cover with the tool? Do we have issues deploying the software? And based on the SAP roadmap, what functionalities were missing? And based on their roadmap, 3 areas of tested software that they could enhance, like the member selector, the login panel, what do we like most about the software, what do we like least, and we gave feedback on the performance and stability of the product. So now we're going to wrap things up. If you made it this far. So, why would you take a look at SAP Analytics Cloud add-in for Microsoft Office? I happen to like Excel. I'm sure we all use it every day, and a lot of accountants live and breathe in Excel. So it gives you some more capabilities at looking at your data in Excel. Eventually, everybody will be able to work on their preferred device, such as a Mac, and easy deployment. I don't have to worry about installing or downloading something from SAP Support Center. So to me, that's really pretty nice. And then this is a slide from SAP. Today we also have analysis for Office that can also connect to SAP Analytics Cloud. So what's the difference, and why would you use one product over the other? Well, the SAP add-in for Microsoft Office is delivered by the Microsoft Store. And SAP Analysis Office is a really strong product. It's been around for 10 years. SAP continues to invest in it, but it can't run on the Mac. And it does provide direct access to BW, BPC, and HANA, and a lot of data sources. So you can still use both products. But what's nice about the add-in for Office is that you don't have to install anything. Features just show up. So to me, that was pretty nice as well. Now, some things in the roadmap that we didn't have in beta that SAP is offering is for planning write back, version handling, unbooked data, currency handling, highlighting of changed cells, reuse the cloud table content in Excel, sorting, which is big, and then having SAP Data Warehouse Cloud as a data source. And then the longer term is for planning asymmetric reports, a version history panel, execute data actions, commenting, keep formula on data Excel, mass data entry mode, and then for the BI, supporting SAP Analytics Cloud calculations and seamless integration with the SAP Analytics Cloud story, and then also supporting future further data connections and integration into the SAP Analytics Cloud repository. So that's some of the future direction of this product. And I want to thank you for listening. And this is how to contact me. And you also, hopefully you're on the SAP community at community.sap.com. I'd love to see you there if you've got questions, or you can contact me on Twitter. But would really love to see you on the SAP community. And thank you for listening.